So I've been playing this Titan Summoner now for a while in Path of Exile 2 Hardcore Trade League. And I think I've played enough to where I have a lot of findings / opinions. I have a lot of opinions about things. So first of all, why play the Titan Summoner? Well, it gets 50% increased effect of small passive skills. So the idea, of course, behind the build was we have a lot of nodes which increase minion damage, which of course get increased by the hulking form. We have a lot of maximum energy shield, which gets increased by hulking form. And we try to just snuggle up in this little area here, not travel too much, and mostly just pick up a lot of small passive nodes, which gives bonuses to minions and give bonuses to energy shield mostly. There are other things, but that's the gist of the build. So anyways, the findings here, what worked or didn't work. I mean, this is just my opinion. You can probably make this work. Maybe if you do the math, I'm actually wrong about something here, but here's my opinion on the matter. So first of all, a thing I tried, which I didn't feel did enough, was doing Corpsewade. So Corpsewade has grants level 16 decompose, and then it triggers decompose whenever you step. And then of course you can link this 4 times if you have, let's see, level, I think it's 17 or higher decompose. You can link it up to 4 times. The problem with this, if you look at, let's see here, it's Alt to inspect decompose. Poison enemies as though dealing chaos damage equal to 37.5% of corpse's maximum life. So the first issue with this is that you need to invest a lot in increased area of effect to make decompose work. And you can actually do that. Even on this skill tree right here, there's area of effect here, there's area of effect here, there's more area of effect. So you can actually do that. But even when I did this, even when I spec'd into Corpsewade, I felt like the poison didn't do enough without explosions. So of course you can make it explode by having minions. For instance, you can put on your warrior minions from your rattling staff. You can put on Infernal Legion so that they ignite, and then things that get decomposed and explode and deal more damage. But even with that, and even with speccing into that, I felt like I just dealt less damage than I did with a regular pair of Bones of Ullr. Why is Bones of Ullr so good? Well, first of all, why is it bad? It's bad because it doesn't have movement speed, and that is horrible. It's horrible that it doesn't have movement speed. But to be fair, on hardcore, I tend to keep it very slow when I play, because I really don't want to die. I try to be as careful as possible, and undead minions have 20% reduced reservation. You might think of this as minions deal 20% more damage because they cost 20% less, but it's actually a little bit better than that. Because if you look at the skill gems here, Skeletal Sniper has 10% reduced reservation, which stacks additively with the Bones of Ullr. And if we go into the passive tree, we also have Lords of Horror. Minions have 12% reduced reservation, which makes it even better because of the additive stacking. So that's why I don't really personally like Corpsewade as an option. Another thing I tested out and didn't really like was going with a focus with high energy shield. So this has 447. I think you can get up to 500 energy shield. And there's a lot of nodes and also a lot of jewels you can put in your skill tree, which increases energy shield from equipped focus. So this has 60%. You can get jewels with 50%, and you can also get jewels which are time lost jewels, which adds, I think it might even be 30% or something per. It's either notable as, no, it can't be small. I think it's per notable. So you can get an insane amount of energy. I calculated that from one shield I could get, if I had the perfect jewels, I could get something like 6,000 energy shield or something like that with this build. But I still, with that much energy shield, I still think it's worse than just having a really good Oaksworn with block chance. Of course, if you're playing in standard, my recommendation is going to be just go with Trench Timber because it's so much added damage. But in hardcore, having this shield right here with increased block chance, corrupt, which is actually not that difficult to get. I think I got this not less than a divine, probably at like 20 exalted or something like that. It was very cheap actually to buy this. You can see I have 73% block, and all this block comes from these 4 nodes right here, which I picked up. Of course, that gets increased by the hulking form, in combination with this anoint right here, Flashy Deflection, which as you can see is one of the easiest anoints to do. Greed, Guilt, Greed. It's like 4 exalts to get this. And together with all that, we have 73% block with almost no investment. And this requires a lot of investments and would decrease our damage by some amount, because jewels actually provide a lot of minion damage. Because you can get increased attack and cast speed 4%, you can get crit damage and crit bonus. My personal preference for getting something on the minions is gonna be attack and cast speed, because that's essentially almost like 4% increased or more damage on the minions, because there's so little attack and cast speed on the tree. There's a little bit here, and there's like one node here. That's all there is. So that's a very good thing to pick up on your jewels. I don't have it on many jewels. I think I have it on like this. And yeah, on this jewel was insane that I found this one. This probably should have been priced higher. I think I bought this for, I don't know, 50 exalted or something like that. This should probably have been multiple divines, honestly, to buy this on hardcore. Notable passives in radius have 2% increased cast and attack speed. So we have one notable there, one there, one there, one there. And I could even consider going with defensive stance just to get more attack and cast speed, because the damage, of course, doesn't work for minions on this node, so it's kind of useless otherwise. Other things I tried which didn't work, or I didn't like, more like it. Pillar of the Caged God. Why did you go Pillar of the Caged God? Well, I thought, my idea was, I put this in my second weapon set here, and then I just use a attack and just move faster on the battlefield, and that was a way of speeding up the build, I thought. Unfortunately, though, with just Pillar of the Caged God, if you don't have really high stats, it's not enough attack speed to actually increase your movement speed, so this didn't work at all. Next, I tried going Choir of the Storm with Trample Toe, Trimmed Greaves, and I even started a series. I put up one episode there on YouTube where I started building into this, but then I tried it on this character and I realized this absolutely does not work without absolutely insane gear. I know I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where I got the impression, wrongly, I didn't maybe understand everything they were doing there. I thought you could just add Choir of the Storm, Trimmed Greaves, and of course cast on critical with, what was it? Frost wall or something. And I thought that would just add damage to my build, but it really did not. That did not work at all. And then I tried Trench Timber. Trench Timber is really good, and you can get this up to +3 levels of minion skills. And if you're playing on standard, you should probably just play a Trench Timber. Because if it doesn't matter too much if you die, the Trench Timber is just better, because that's more damage. But I really love Oaksworn. It's so nice to have 73% block. And when things get dicey, as you can see, the only skills that I have assigned here is Raise Shield and Pain Offering. Why Pain Offering? Well, Pain Offering is insanely good. So look at this. Pain Offering says the following. Aura grants minions 30% increased attack and cast speeds. That's like 30% more damage. But also Aura grants minions 51% more damage. Well, that's really good. That's almost 100% more damage if you multiply these figures together. But then you can see here, and here's something I didn't really understand, because I went into the tooltip here and I saw, okay, I have Dance Macabre and Ablation linked, and minions more damage granted, 51%. So I thought, okay, 1.51 times 1.30 is, I don't know, almost 2 times the damage, but it's actually even better than this. From my calculation here, or what you can see here, Dance Macabre says supported offering skills have 30% increased buff effect, but let's say I take off this. Nothing changes here. So this is not calculated. Assuming that this gem works, which I really think it does, because it seems like it really does increase the damage and the attack speed. So assuming that this works, this figure right here is multiplied by 1.3, but since we have 2 of them, which increases the buff effect, it's multiplied by 1.6. But also the attack speed is multiplied by 1.6. So if you do the math there, a little bit of quick napkin math here, that would take us to, let's see here, 1.48. That is for the attack speed, the multiplicative attack speed, times 1.81, which is the more damage that you deal. Then you, of course, need to take -1, and then I think times 100. then I get 167. So 167% increased more damage, I should say. 167% more damage while you have the Pain Offering down. And now you understand how important Pain Offering is. It's absolutely by far the most important thing to get down. Which is what leads me to why I go Sniper plus Skeletal Warrior. Again, if I was playing Standard, I would just go Skeletal Sniper and no Warriors. Because the Snipers clear faster, not because of the damage so much actually. They're actually very similar in damage, but it's because the Skeletal Snipers don't have any travel time to the mob, like the Skeletal Warrior has. But on bosses, they're actually about the same. Assuming all Skeletal Warriors can actually fight, the damage isn't that much different. Because if you look at the damage of the Sniper is 20,000. This damage of the Skeletal Sniper is, or DPS I mean, is about 12,000, a little bit less than 12,000. And if you average this out per point, since these cost, as you can see, these cost 12 spirit, right? And they almost deal 12,000 damage. See, an easy way of thinking about this is like one spirit is about 1,000 DPS. And it's actually the same with the snipers, because the snipers cost 17 spirit, but they deal almost 20,000 damage. It's a little bit higher, of course, for the snipers, but it's around 1,000 damage per spirit point. And then we can easily calculate how, with that knowledge, we can calculate about how much damage we deal. So we have 439 spirit, which means we deal 400,000 damage, but then we take that number, of course, times our Pain Offering, which is 167 increased damage. So we arrive at, so we need to take 439 times 2.67, which is 1172. So 1.1 million damage per second while the Pain Offering is down. But you have to also calculate in, of course, that 2 minions are then gone. So let's say for easy math, about 1 million DPS with Pain Offering down. So why aren't you doing the Summon Raging Spirits with Flame Wall? It's because I don't feel like it does enough to be casting it constantly. The thing is, it's annoying to cast it all the time, and if you cast it all the time, it actually makes it more dangerous to play because you can't see anything on the screen because everything is just flame walls. There's too much shit on the screen, so you can't see anything. So you can't see if you're walking on something which explodes or if something happens. You have no clue what is happening if you're constantly casting Flame Wall. So even though it increases the damage a little bit, I think compared to just be casting Pain Offering all the time, it's not worth the damage. In my opinion. Again, in my opinion. It's all just my opinions. So, Pain Offering, as you can see, I have it 5 linked. I think it's the most important thing. So you see here, I have Dance Macabre, of course, to increase the buff effect. Ablation, which increases the buff effect. But, of course, the Ablation has the downside that you sacrifice 50% of life on use. I'm pretty sure that if you have CI, then you don't need to sacrifice any life, because your life is 1. And 50% of 1 is then running down to 0, so it doesn't matter. But for this build, it does matter, because I have life, shield, and mana. And, of course, I also have Mind Over Matter, so in total, that's about 4,000. If you combine life and mana, it's about 4,000 plus shield, 600. So it's about 10,000 effective HP. And of course, the shield gets doubled with the Green Feast. But anyway, what I was talking about? Yeah. So I have this calculated perfectly. So you see, you sacrifice 50% life, but then I regenerate from, let's see here, my body armor regenerates 14, and my belt regenerates 24. That in total is enough to offset the Pain Offering until I can cast another Pain Offering. And what do I mean by that? Well, I also have it linked to Expanse, which gives 50% more area of effect, which I think is very, very important, because of course the Pain Offering lasts longer than those 6 seconds. And it has such insane area, both because we are speccing into both Magnified Effect and Expanse, but also since I've taken both these nodes here, which also gets increased by the hulking form, that these essentially reach, like, man, I can't, I was about to show you next to the screen, but you can't see. Essentially the entire screen and more is what you can see. or is what it covers when you have the pain offering down. And also 6 seconds, yeah, I already covered that. 6 seconds is longer, is shorter than the duration of the Macabre when you have the persistence also on it. So again, that was a little bit messy, but in summary, you want Dance Macabre, Ablation, Magnified Effect, Expanse, and Persistence, and then you want enough health regen to offset the damage here, so that you in 6 seconds regenerate the life that is lost from casting Pain Offering, because then you don't ever have to think about Pain Offering, unless you're playing a map with the reduced regeneration, essentially. So, that are my findings, essentially, in a nutshell, or my ramblings. My advice, of course, go snipers, because they clear fast, and have a lot of warriors if you're playing hardcore. If you're not playing hardcore, just play snipers. I feel like these are just faster. The reason, by the way, I maybe didn't cover this. Why am I playing snipers over arsonist? The arsonist takes so long for their missiles to fly and land at the enemy, and they have such short range that if you're playing in very narrow corridors, they usually struggle to deal any damage at all. So the snipers usually, even though the arsonist should on paper deal more damage, the snipers end up dealing more damage because they can actually hit and they can actually deal that damage. So snipers are, in my opinion, the best. Minion and the warriors are only there to be a meat shield so that enemies don't aggro or attack onto me. And again, if I was playing standard, I would just play snipers. That's pretty much it. I should stop rambling. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.